Hey everybody, James here, and welcome to Monday night. Braden isn't with me tonight, but I think he's logging in, watching this live. So anyways, it's just me, but I'm really excited about tonight because we're talking about something that might be a little bit of a different topic. It's actually called, what's it called again? You Are Here. Because so much of this business can be confusing at times. And so what we want to do tonight is we want to walk you through the different stages of this journey so that you can figure out exactly where you are. And that's important for several reasons. So anyway, it's great that you're here. For those of you who are joining us live, hey, let me know that you're here. Leave a comment. I think they pop up here. At least that way I know that you can hear me and that you can see me. So that would be helpful. All right. So I'm not sure if you were ever lost as a kid. I was many times. I grew up on this ranch out in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. So sometimes I was like lost out in the wilderness. But other times it was like in a grocery store or when my parents would like take me into the big city and we'd go to shopping mall and, you know, you'd get away from your parents. And then all of a sudden you would have this moment where you would look up from the toy section and you'd be like, where's mom and dad? And then you're frantically running down the aisles trying to find your parents. And meanwhile, your stress is going up as you by the minute. But anyways, and then when you find your parents again, it's such a great feeling, right? Because you're like, whew, okay, I'm safe again. So just like in life, it's easy to get lost when we're doing anything, but especially when we're doing something that is a sizable project, like whether we're launching an online course or whether we are a coach and we're trying to convert our knowledge into some kind of a program, or you've already created a course and you're just not selling it like you want to. We got stuff in here for you tonight as well. All right. So I saw this today and I thought this was kind of cool. This was from a website called Success Pictures. Anyways, it says, well, it doesn't say anything. I wrote this. It says, knowing where you are helps you focus on where you need to go. But sometimes this is true, right? It feels like this big, the first step is the biggest. And the reason it's the biggest is not that it's the hardest, is that it's the most unclear. So the more clear we are about what are the next steps that I need to take, the easier it becomes. And so that's the idea. How do we make this journey filled with little steps instead of these big cliffs that we've got to climb? So when we go through here tonight, I'm going to walk you through these 7 stages, okay? Let me move my camera up here. We're going to move through these 7 stages where I'm going to be showing you what each one of them is, what's important on each stage, where you need to be focused, and it's going to help you figure out where you are so you can just dial in and you can forget the rest, because there's no point getting too far ahead of yourself. But you'll also know what your next step is going to be. So that's going to be super important. So for those of you who do not have an online course, these first 4 stages are really going to pertain to you. So we'll walk through those. And for those of you who already have an online course or online program, but it's just not selling and you're not sure what the problem is, hey, just stick with me, because in a few minutes, once we go through those 4 stages, we'll get to you, okay? And that's where we're going to cover these other 3 stages, which is really essential when it comes to, once you've got your program built, now how do you sell it? How do you scale it? How do you systemize it? Okay? So let's go ahead and jump in. We're going to go fairly quickly here. I don't want to keep you all night. I want this to be really, really practical. We're going to start with stage 1. And stage 1 always begins with the offer. It always begins with the offer. And there's a few pieces to this. So your offer is made up of your who, your what, and your how. It's your who, your what, and your how. Now, sometimes when you are trying to figure out what course you're going to create, often you will do a lesson on, how to choose your course topic, and we teach that as well. Like, here's how you choose your course topic, but that's only one segment of your offer. And really, your offer is built on the transformation that you provide to a certain person and the way you're going to provide it. So think of it in this way. When we are first coming in to build something online, it's really all about decisions early on. We've got to make some decisions. We've got to first decide, either what course or program am I going to create, what's going to be the topic, And so one of the ways is that we take an inventory of our life, right? Our skills, our passions, what we know how to do. And then we think, okay, well, who needs this? And so that's one way to start. Another way to start for some people, though, is to start with who, right? Like, who am I most passionate about serving? And then what do they need that I can help them with? So that's an equally a good way to approach this whole idea. But we want to figure out our who. We want to figure out our what, which is what's the problem we're solving, what's the transformation we're getting them, and the how. That's the other piece of the puzzle. How are we going to do it? How are we going to get them there? And so this is why this stage is so important, is because this helps you lay down the strategy, sort of like the map that's going to carry you for the journey. And this is what I'm going to tell you, what I find most often for people is that they don't have the offer tight and they don't have it clear. In other words, they might have some topic, but they've not got it clear on really who this is for, or they've kind of got who they want to serve, but it's a little bit mushy on exactly what they're helping them with, or they're not quite sure how. And so this is where it starts. You have to get this right. And remember, the how is, and I've used this diagram before, right? That your course, your program is really just a transformation to get them from A to B. It's the bridge. And in a sense, that's what your offer is about. Your offer outlines how people are going to get from A to B and who it's for, right? And what you're going to help them with. So if you don't have this, you can't really move on to other segments yet. So again, if you're still here, that's completely fine. Just understand that this is a place of decision making. And so you can go about this all day. You could lose 2-3 weeks on this, just churning ideas and just wondering, hey, which one's the right one? Hey, sometimes you won't know until you just begin to start. And as you get down the road, you'll start to go, hey, is this going to work or not? And if it doesn't, you can pull back and pivot before you've built a business. But it all starts with the offer. So until you're clear on who you're serving, what's the transformation, what's the specific challenge that you are helping them with, and how are you going to do that? How are you going to deliver that? Is that in a group coaching program? Is that in a course that they're going to take? Even pricing, for that matter. What do you think this transformation is worth? And so you want to get that figured out. Once you do that, we move on to stage 2. And stage 2 is about tribe building. So once you've got your offer figured out, then we've got to start to have a bunch of people that we can tell them about it. And this is all about tribe building. So if you don't have to do this stage 2 if you already have a tribe. So in other words, if you're an established coach or a speaker and you've got this big email list, you have your tribe. So for me in my leadership company, I have a tribe. So that's why at any time I can just launch a new product and a new course and it will do well because I already have built a tribe. But if you're just starting, then this is the next step. And so with tribe building, basically, like I said, if you don't have one, you need to focus here. And also, you can build a tribe quickly if you focus. Like, this doesn't have to take a long time, but it just takes focus. And so you want to find out where they are and then begin to attract them to you by solving micro problems. That's kind of like the basic high level of a tribe. And this is why you need that offer so dialed in, because the offer, you need to know who you're helping and you need to know what some of their challenges are. So you can take some of those challenges and go, hey, I can solve some of these for you. And then that's how you draw the tribe to you. So think about it in this way. There's 2 types of tribes that you can build. And one is going to be a social tribe and the other one is going to be an email tribe. So social tribes are when we build followers on Instagram, on Facebook, or we have people in our Facebook group or whatever platform that you're on that you have a following. And they can be very powerful. But the other tribe is email tribes. And so that's where we get somebody's email and now we can send them stuff. We can at least communicate that way. So both are important, but again, a lot of it's going to depend on the industry that you're in. So from a social tribe perspective, if you are more in a B2C or B2B corporate environment, your social tribe is probably going to start with LinkedIn. Whereas in a B2C environment, it's probably going to be more of Facebook or something else like that, or even on Instagram. But ultimately, we want to build our email list, and so we want to find a way that we can start offering something to somebody and build that list and begin to engage with them, okay? So that's what we do. And again, there's lots of different ways that you can get traffic sources, but the idea is that you're going to get them to you, and you're going to make an introduction, you're going to build your tribe. So you might wonder, okay, if I'm starting from scratch and I've got to build this tribe, how big should it be? Well, a goal you should shoot for is to get your tribe to 250 people, because you're going to need that kind of numbers to take us into the next stage, okay? So this takes us to stage 3, and stage 3 is all about beta testing. Now, just like in NASA, before they send people into a rocket, they test it out a few times, right? They just want to make sure it's okay, and then maybe they send, I don't know, a bunch of animals up and make sure they're okay, and then lastly, we're going to put humans in it. Well, in the same thing, you want to beta test when you have a new offering. And so the idea of a beta test, basically what you're going to do is you're going to teach a small group and take them through your process, through your course. And the reason that we're doing this, and by the way, this is like a shortened version of your course and program. So this isn't going to be, you're not building your course out and then you're taking a group of people through. No, what you're doing is you take that tribe that I told you to get up to around 250 people, and then you're like, hey, I'm going to put this thing together. Who wants to come with me? And of course, it's a little bit more eloquent than how I just said it, but that's that's the 30,000 foot view. And you get a bunch of people to come with you, and then you create it as you teach it. That's how it works. And of course, they pay you for that. They pay you to be part of that, usually a discounted rate, but then you're going to take them through your program in a shortened version. And so there's different reasons that we're doing this. And a lot of people will tell you that you do this to validate your course and your offer. That's partly true, but you should have validated a lot of your offer back when you were creating your offer, because you did your homework. To be honest, the biggest reason that you take people through a beta course is because it's the path to making a better program. So the only time you wouldn't go through a beta course, a beta test, is if you've already taught this stuff. Maybe you're a speaker, a teacher, a coach. You've already taken people through this process, and you're like, no, I teach this already. Okay, awesome. Then you can probably skip the beta. But there's a lot of different ways to run your beta test. You can do it one-on-one, like through a coaching. You take people through individually. And that's why when I'm working with coaches, a lot of them don't necessarily need to do a beta test because they've already been testing out their program one-on-one. You can also take people through a multi-week program. So one of our clients is just about to do their beta course, and their course will end up having about six or seven modules, but their beta course, we're going to just squeeze it into 4 because we can shorten it, and that's okay. And the other thing that you can do when you're creating your beta is, instead of doing a multi-week, you could just do a live workshop. And I do this all the time, where I'll just do a 90-minute workshop. I want to see, are people interested in this? Let me teach this, and I'll teach a 90-minute workshop, and I'll see how it went. And then from there, I will evaluate. So that's the idea. And bottom line, you just got to do it. So one of the things I notice that when people start this whole process of creating an online course, it's exciting to work on the offer. And it's less exciting if you're an introvert maybe, or you're shy, building your tribe. But then what happens is people get to this stage like, what, actually do this? You mean actually teach this course? And that's when people start to get cold feet. And I've seen this so many times where people keep telling me like, hey, you know what, something's come up. I'm going to put my beta launch off like till July. And then I'll just tell them, no, you're not. You're just going to do it. And that's what you just got to do it, because the beta test doesn't have to be perfect. That's the thing. Perfection is your enemy. You just have to do it. Of course, it's going to be rough around the edges. That's okay. That's why you tell people this is a beta program that you're taking people through, okay? So once you teach your beta, though, you've taken a bunch of people through your program, your process. Then what you do is you're going to gather your intelligence from that. You're going to find out what you felt like worked, what didn't, where they were confused, that you needed to add extra explanation. And you're going to keep a lot of good notes. You're going to get some feedback from them as well of what they thought, if there was anything that they felt like you missed. This is where you're going to make your revisions. And as you do that, you're going to also collect your testimonials of the group that you worked with about what they thought, because we'll use these later. You're going to finalize your program. You're going to end up recording it, packaging it, and uploading it online. And that's the assembly. And now guess what? You have gone through all 4 stages. You've got paid to do it because you pre-sold your beta, and now you have a finished product, right? You have an online course or an online program, whichever word that you want to use for it. So that's the first 4 stages and how it looks like. So for those of you who have not yet created an online course, where are you? What stage are you at? If you're going to type in the chat right now, for those of you who are just starting, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, or stage 4. Because like I said before, you don't have to go beyond the stage you're in. Just focus where you are, right? So if it's the offer, then get that right. Stay there until you get that dialed in. If it's tribe building, okay, focus on building your tribe. Make that your focus. Don't worry about your beta yet. Then as your tribe starts to get up in numbers, then you can start letting people know that something's coming. Stage 3, when you're teaching your beta, that's what you're focused on. Just teach your beta. Make sure that your students have a great experience as they go through it. And then once they're done, it's assembly time, right? And so at each one of these stages, it can trip people up, but make sure you have clarity on where you are at. Awesome. Jenny says she's in stage 1. Jolie, she is in stage 2, about to head into stage 3. Lynn, stage 1 and 2 combined. Awesome. Good job, guys. Stacy, stage 1. Awesome. Deanna, stage 1. Love it. So we got a lot of people who are just starting this journey. And Randy and Rhonda, they are in stage 2, doing a fantastic job as well, building their tribe. So for those of you who already have a program or you already have a course, or for those of you who are in these first 4 stages, but one day you're going to get through them, one day quickly, and then you're going to get into these stages. So this is where we really build our business. See, that initial first 4 stages is we're just getting going. We're just, in a sense, launching our product. But once we have our product, now we actually have to build a business. And so this is where a lot of people get it. Make the mistake is they create a course, and then they're done it, and then they're like, okay, they just sit and wait for people to buy it. But it doesn't happen, because you got to make sales. And this is where people start to really feel lost. Like, well, how do I do that? Like, there was an initial excitement with building a tribe and offering it to them, but how do I now take this and move beyond this little group of 10 people who are in my beta tribe? And how do I have 100 people in my course? How do I have 500 people? How do I get 5,000 people taking my course? Well, you can do that, but you've got to build correctly. And so let's take you through those 3 stages. So stage 1, or stage 5 rather, we'll continue on with the numbering. Stage 5 is, I call it OPM, and it stands for offer, positioning, and messaging. So the offer is a continuation of the point we started with in the beginning. And the reason I bring this up here is because there are a lot of people who ended up kind of sneaking through and created a course, but they really weren't dialed in with their offer, but they still managed to kind of squeeze through. And so at this stage, once our course, for those of you who have your course already, this is where you take a look at your offer again and dial it in more if you need to, sometimes based on the feedback from your beta, but also be taking a look at the model and the pricing and where are you going to price this at? Because most people price way too low. And so you got to take a look at what you're going to be pricing it at. And then positioning. Positioning is, think of it in this way. Your positioning is what sets you apart from your competition and places you in a category of one. And your positioning is the intersection between your uniqueness, your proven process, and your authority to deliver results. So why positioning is so important? Number one, for your own confidence. Because if you don't kind of root yourself in your uniqueness and who you are, then you're always going to be comparing yourself with others. You're going to see other people offering the same thing you're offering. You're going to feel insecure about it. But you got to push all that aside and realize there's only one of you. And there are things that have made you who you are that makes you different than everyone. Think about my background for a minute. Wanted to become a film director, then ended up becoming a preacher. had to speak a lot of lessons on stage, really learned a lot about building tribes. Then I became a leadership consultant and speaker, flew all over the country teaching leadership and motivation. Then I started building online courses back in like 2009. And so built an entire library of online courses now serving in the corporate space. Then a few years ago, started helping other people teach people how to create online courses. So do you think that I bring a unique story to this? Absolutely. So there are things I don't bring for sure, but you know what? There's a lot of things I do bring. In other words, there's only one of me, and there's only one of Braden, and there's only one of both of us together. And so you've got to be able to step into your positioning and feel confident about it. But the other part of this is it's about really finding your, I'll say, superpower. We all have different gifts and strengths, and we want to leverage them in our business. So for some of you, it might be writing. Then that's going to affect how you are going to go into the next step, which is about messaging. For some of you, you're going to naturally be good on video, or maybe you're going to be good, maybe you just got a really nice voice and it's going to be great on audio. For some of you, people are really drawn to you when you work with them one-on-one. Like whatever your superpower is, you want to leverage that. And that's going to be part of it. So we want to make sure that we're clear. So when we work with someone who already has a program, when we work with somebody who already has a program but it's not selling, we go right back here. We don't like look at their funnels yet. We go right here and go, what's your offer? How clear is it? How are you positioning yourself? And we make sure that they are tapping into that. And the third part of this stage 5 is messaging. And your messaging is how you communicate your offer to your ideal prospects, right? So that's why it's got to be really dialed in and clear. And your message tells them what your offer does for them and how it will improve their lives, but your messaging must align and resonate with your prospect's current point in their journey, okay? Your messaging must align and resonate with your prospect's current point in their journey. What am I saying there? I'm saying here that when you are kind of dialed into your superpower, but you have to understand that everyone who comes through your program, they're going to be at different places along the way. I mean, look at tonight. We're on this live here, and you guys are all at different stages. Well, Braden and I can't just talk to all of you like you're just one blob, like everyone's in the same place, because you're not in the same place. And so you have to know the customer journey of the people that are your ideal avatar and be able to speak to them at the different stages of their journey. Anyways, I could teach a lot on this, but this is more just a high level to find out what stage we're in, okay? So that's stage 5. We take the OPM, right? Offer, positioning, messaging. We make sure that is tight. So if that's not tight for you, then and you already have your program, but it's not selling, go back there. Look at your offer. Look at your positioning. Is it coming out in your marketing? And look at your messaging. How are you communicating to the people at the varying stages of the journey? And that brings us to stage 6, which is about your pipeline. So sometimes people use the word funnels. Same concept here, but this really is where your business grows. This is where it grows. This is where you move people from a stranger to a paying client, and it is a process, right? We move people from a stranger to a paying client, and the key is to work backwards. So let me show you. So for those of you who already have a course and you're out selling it, you're trying to sell it, but it's not selling, well, you got to go to your pipeline. And so the pipeline looks like this. On one end, on the left end, this is where, imagine like traffic comes in here. Traffic, this is people from the internet, online, people coming to you from cyberspace into your world, right? Well, traffic is in some ways just nameless. It's just numbers. You don't even know these people, but they're coming to your blog. They're coming to maybe check out what you have. Well, traffic turns into leads, and this is a significant change in the relationship because a lead means that there's some kind of exchange. There's some kind of an engagement. They gave you their email. Now they're a lead. They gave you their phone number. They accepted your friend request. They joined your Facebook group. They liked your Facebook page. There's some kind of engagement now. In other words, they're not passive. They've taken one step towards you, and now you have in your control a way to reach out to them. That would be what a lead is. Well, leads eventually move down the pipeline, and they they get a chance to have opportunities. Opportunities are moments in time where people have a chance to buy. Now, they could be on the phone because you're selling something that's a high ticket item, like $2,000 or more, or they could be on a webinar with you, and at the end of the webinar, you're telling them about your program, or they could be coming to your sales page and they're reading. In other words, all of those things are opportunities. They're moments where those leads have come to this decision point and where they can buy or not. And of course, those that do, then that leads to sales. And so this is all like a pipeline, right? And again, this is where the dollars come out. So what happens when this isn't working? So if you're in this stage, right, where you feel like your offer's dialed in, all the things you got stage, actually this should say stage 6. You got stage 5 nailed down. This should say stage 6. And then in stage 6, you're like, wait a minute, I'm not having sales, right? So if you're not having, think of it this way. If you're not having sales, we're going to move backwards. Then there's a block in the pipe. There's something blocking the pike. So we go back one step to opportunities. And this is where, so for example, if I was talking to somebody who sells high ticket items, I would say, well, how many people are you talking to on the phone in a week? And if they're not talking to anyone, I'm like, well, that's the problem. Or if they're doing a webinar and no one's coming to their webinar, I'm like, that's the problem. Or no one's coming to their sales page. That's the problem. In other words, there's not enough eyeballs on this moment of decision where they can have the opportunity to work with you. And so if there's none there, that's a problem. But then we can go back one more. Like if there's not enough people there, then we've got to go back a step because we got to fix back. Then this means that there's probably a challenge with our leads. In other words, that we don't have enough. Because when leads come in, think of it like this. When leads come in, remember I told you that's that engagement moment. That's where they give you their email or engage in a relationship with you in some way. Well, when people come in, when they don't really know you, that's what we would call a cold lead. We use that word, cold. And what happens through the process is we nurture them. We build a relationship with them so they get to know us, they like us, they trust us, where they become warm leads, where they become hot leads. And it's those are the people that are most likely to want to take us up on our opportunity. So what we do is we start to troubleshoot here. So for example, though, if you have, let's say you have no leads, then it tells you there's a problem with traffic. And so you can go all the way back here. At the same time, if you have a lot of traffic, but nobody's becoming a lead, well, the problem is that you're losing people at this conversion point. Like, in other words, whatever you're doing to get them to engage with you isn't working. It's not enticing. It's not solving a micro problem that's got enough pain. So that's what you want to fix. You fix that. And once you fix that, if you're not getting people here, it's because there's something wrong with this nurture sequence. And so we got to fix that. And once we do that, if we got this and this isn't working, then we know there's something wrong with how we're offering this, and we got to fix this, either the webinar or the sales copy or whatever. So you see how that works? So when we're working with somebody that, again, like I said, they have a course and it's just not selling, then we'll go through this process and go, okay, let's work our way backwards and let's troubleshoot. Because when we unblock the pipe, we unblock the traffic problem, it flows to the leads. And then we unlock the leads problem, goes to the opportunities. Then we unlock that, goes to the sales. Okay? Do you like those sound effects? I thought they were cool. Totally, I just ad-libbed them, by the way. Anyways, and that's how it goes. That's stage 6 where we do the pipeline. And honestly, once you have that working, then you are going to see more and more sales begin to come in all the time. Once you get this down, it's a really nice feeling. It's a really nice feeling. So I'll give you an example. Because I was selling my main signature course in corporate environment, a lot of people would tell me, well, it's harder to do webinars and make it work to sell on a webinar. And so I tried, but I kept iterating and changing it and shaping it, and eventually started to sell, then started to sell, then started to sell more. And so once I figured that out, it was a great feeling to know that if I have a certain number of people on the webinar, I'm going to make a certain amount of money because I did the troubleshooting I needed to do. Okay, so if you're in stage 6, but it's not working, that's the kind of the blueprint for you. That's where you've got to focus. And then once you have got consistent sales coming in, this is stage 7. And really, this is about systems. And this is exciting because, again, you've got consistent sales coming in, but this is when life starts to get really busy. And so what you want to do is you want to begin to systemize the process. So you want to go back and look now, like, what can I take my hands out of? What can I have something? What can I automate and get that going? So we systemize the process. This is where we make sure we get people to switch from a launching strategy to an evergreen strategy for most people. So launching is when you keep opening and closing, and it can be effective for a lot of reasons, but it can be really time consuming and energy draining. And so we get people to systemize the whole process so that it's always open. It's always selling. And what helps is when you have systems to back you up, this is when you would begin hiring help as well. Okay. So that's stage 7. But since I don't think any of us are at stage 7, we'll skip on. So again, where are you? Of these 7 stages, most of you have answered already. Some of you who didn't answer yet because you were beyond stages 4, then let us know. If you're in stage 6, or you're stuck in stage 7, or you are still back in stage 5, okay? Let us know. So again, where are you? Why would we want to know where we are? Because then we know where to focus. And when we know where to focus, we know where to put our time and energy in. Because again, if you're back in stage 2, then throw your whole heart into building your tribe and just build it. It doesn't have to take a long time. And if you're focused on it, it won't take a long time. If you're at stage 3 and you're beta, awesome. Just make that the best beta experience for the people who signed up for your beta. When you're in stage 4, which is a lot of just you working on your own, then make sure you focus on get this thing done, right? Get this done. So one of our clients right now, she is she's a celebrity speaker, and she's creating a course based on her expertise, but she doesn't want to create the tribe yet because she's got some pressing deadlines and she's got to get this thing done. So she's not going to do a beta. And we're like, that's fine because she's taught this before. So she's in stage 4, but I tell you, she is dialed in and she is cranking out her PowerPoint. She's sending me her PowerPoints. We're looking over them, making any changes we need to, and she'll start recording them and then she'll get them up online, and it can happen really quickly. You just have to focus, okay? So again, where are you? Stages 1 through 7. That's how it works. Okay, let me look at some questions here that some of you guys have. Jolie says, more clarity. I'm selling a program. Show how it works. I don't know if that's a question, Jolie, or you're just making a statement. So if you are asking a question, just maybe ask it again so I'll get it. I'll understand it. Robin says, what are some ways to build a social tribe, example, Facebook, without relying mostly on your personal Facebook friends? Yeah, right? That's no fun when you spam your friends. So one of the biggest things you can do with a social tribe like Facebook, so one of the things that we teach in our program is that, again, you're dialing in on your avatar, right? You're dialing in on your avatar, and then you're finding out where they hang out online, especially in Facebook. So a lot of people in Facebook are in other groups. And so, in fact, we do this. Braden and I do this. We spend hours a day where we'll go into other groups and we will just go and be helpful. We'll go and be helpful to people. We'll make comments. Sometimes we'll make a post. We're not selling anything, but we're connecting. We're building relationships. And then people from those groups end up checking our pages out, and then some of them end up coming into this group, and we continue the relationship. So that's kind of high level how that works. So a similar thing can happen in LinkedIn. So in LinkedIn, with my leadership company, I'm reaching out to predominantly HR executives, and I'm reaching out to them to connect, build a relationship, then find out what's going on with them and if there's any challenges that they're having. And for those that want to have a conversation, great, then I can jump on the phone with them and find out what some of their biggest challenges are. And if I think I can help them, then I'm going to send them someplace. So I have a place to send them. and I can do that. So there's a couple other ways, but that's one way to get you started, Robin, is to go find out where are your avatars hanging out online, and then go serve them and help them out, and just be a presence in those communities. And as you are there, it takes time. It does. It takes time. And so that's why you don't want to be selling courses for, $99. Like, sell your course for way more than that, because your value, your knowledge is worth more than that. Okay. Thanks, Jolie. Just a statement. Got it. All right, listen, I kept you long enough. If you got some questions, throw them in the comment box here. Thanks, everybody, for being here on Monday night. So the idea here is every Monday, we're going to have some kind of training that's going to help you further your journey in this, okay? Now, obviously, we do this. Not only do we do it ourselves in terms of Built a Business doing this, but now we help other people do it. So if you feel like, hey, you want some help doing this, then just DM Braden or DM me, and then at least we'll have a conversation on the phone and see if you're somebody that we feel like we can help. And if not, then we'll at least let you know where we think you can get some great help, and we'll definitely send you on that way. Okay? Anyways, hey, great seeing you guys. Stay safe out there, and we will see you in the group. It's good having you guys. It's good having you guys here. We'll see you later. See you, Lynn. Bye.